I have to grab you. Go grab you. Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, I get it. I go by Apple time, so.
We got one minute.
Yeah. So quiet. Got to learn the ropes here, so. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the Community Transit Board of Directors meeting for July 10th, 2024. I'm Sid Roberts, Vice Chair. I'm pitch hitting today for our Chair, Tom Merrill, who's out, not feeling well today. Welcome. The Board of Directors meeting is conducted in a hybrid format, both in person and remote, and is recorded and live streamed. Today's board meeting has two opportunities for public comment. First, a public hearing for comments related to the draft transit development plan. Second, the board will take general comments from the public. Board Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Daughtry. Mayor Frizzell.
Present.
Mayor Marine.
Here.
Councilmember Mead is just arriving. Thank you. Councilmember Merrill is online. Yes.
Correct. I'm here.
Thank you. Mayor Nearing.
Here.
Thank you. Local Representative Norton.
Here, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson. Okay. Mayor Roberts.
I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Schweddy.
Present.
Thank you. Chair, we do have a quorum of board members.
Councilmember Mead is here too.
Oh, thank you. I got your attendance. Thank you, Councilmember Mead. Regarding our board alternates, we have Councilmember Payne online and Councilmember Gallagher in the room. And that concludes roll.
Thank you. Appreciate that. At this time, we'll open a public hearing on the 2024 to 2029 Transit Development Plan. The public hearing is on that draft 2024-2029 Transit Development Plan is now open for that. And we've received 52 comments today. These comments and any additional comments received will be packaged and provided to the board prior to the August board meeting. The public comment period will remain open through the end of today. So we'll first have those that have signed up. I believe there's no signups today. Okay. We'll then move to in-room comments. Is there anyone in the room that would like to make a comment during the public hearing for the transit development plan? Just raise your hand. Don't come all at once. So, all right. Doesn't look like there is anybody in the room. Going once, going twice. How about online? Is there anyone online that'd like to make a comment? If they do, they can do the raise your hand feature. They're not doing that either. So, okay, well, that'd be short and sweet. Then we'll close the public hearing then at 3:02 p.m. Okay, that public hearing is now closed. That leads us to item number 4, public comments, kind of the same routine as we had before. Do we have anybody signed up for public comments tonight? It's a nice, beautiful day, beautiful afternoon. People are not coming to the board meeting. Okay. So is there anybody in the room today that didn't sign up that would like to make a public comment to the Board of Directors of Community Transit? No one in the room and no one, is anyone online? Want to raise their hands? Raise your hands? No. Okay. We've got kind of a quiet crowd today. So, all right. So we'll close public comments. Thank you. Presentations. That leads us right on to Employee Service Awards. Our CEO, Rick Ilgen Fritz, will do the honors of that, I believe, today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I could invite Martin Munguia to join me up at the podium. All right, are we live here? Excellent. We have a very special recognition this afternoon. I'm delighted to report to the board and on the attendees today that we're celebrating with Martin Munguia, who is our communications manager, 20 years of service for community transit. And he's joined by his wife, Sarah, today as well in the room. So welcome. And I'm just going to say a few things about Martin, and then he'll have an opportunity to defend himself when I'm done. Martin has joined Community Transit in 2004. So obviously been here 20 years. He is a lifelong public servant. He served prior to being here as a communications manager for the City Council of Seattle. He also oversaw media relations for the Oregon Health and Sciences University, Go Ducks. And he served as well as Deputy Communications Director for former Washington Governor Mike Lowry. This is after working as a reporter and a producer for KUOW prior to that for half a decade. You know, when Martin got here, he sort of jumped right in, demonstrating the expertise of working with reporters in a complex environment and working on numerous other communications disciplines. In those early days, a typical work day was responding to reporters, trying to work on telling our story internally to employees, and overseeing public engagement for many of our public processes the board's familiar with. So he was really a one-man show orchestrating all of our internal and external communications functions. And how he did it all those years before we were able to staff up a little bit, I don't know. But congratulations, because you got us here. That really sort of catalyzed in 2015. The board will remember Community Transit asked the community to invest in expanding our system. And Martin was on point helping tell the story to the public of what that investment would be and answer their questions so they could make an informed decision. He is deeply committed to public service, as you can tell by his record. And he's also on the family side, a deeply committed parent and husband. He and his wife have been together 25 years. They live in Snohomish. They've raised 3 adult children who are off doing what 20-something kids do now. And so congratulations to Martin on that. He's been very active in leadership Snohomish County. He went through that program with us. He served on the board and he's been a mentor to numerous community transit employees who have gone through that program. He's been a real champion for helping people grow and develop in their careers here in Snohomish County, not just here at CT, but across sort of the kaleidoscope of private and public employers who participate in that program. We're very proud of that. He's also an avid reader. There's usually an audiobook in his car. And where there is family, there is food. He's a cook. Consider yourself lucky if you got a chance to sample his chicken enchiladas or his tamales. Last but not least, he's a sports fan. He loves Seattle sports, particularly the Mariners and the Seahawks. I had the opportunity to become acquainted with Martin shortly after he joined Community Transit. There was a period in the mid-aughts where Sound Transit had to shut down the downtown Seattle Transit Tunnel to upgrade it to take light rail. And all the transit agencies who operated at the time in downtown had to come together to figure out how to coordinate all that and how to communicate about it. And so I got the assignment on the Sound Transit side to pull together a big meeting of all the communication staff, government relations staff, customer service staff for Community Transit, Sound Transit, King County Metro, Pierce Transit, Washington State Ferries, SDOT, and Martin showed up there as CT's representative and immediately showed his true colors as a collaborative partner, as a strategist, and as a calm head in a very complex environment. So it was great to meet you then. It's great to see what you've done since. I'd like to congratulate you on behalf of the rest of the agency on your remarkable achievement. Congratulations. Thanks. Hardware, certificate, and a 20-year pen. I don't have to do this anymore. All right, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you all. I've worked with a lot of you board members for many years, off and on. One of the things that people have asked me, you know, what's different about community transit now than 20 years ago, and there's so many things, is how we've been recognized in the community, in the larger community, and not just with the public, but with the jurisdictions. 20 years ago, when I joined and Joyce was the CEO, we were struggling to work with the county and other jurisdictions to be involved in land use planning. And some of you maybe remember some of those days. And now we're not just a seat at the table, but we're often a leader in helping to plan a lot of what's going to be happening in Snohomish County's future. We have a long-range plan, a new plan that we've just updated. We're a very well-regarded fiscally and socially responsible agency. And I've told the staff that I now have that this is probably the best time to be at community transit. Mayor Marine was just remarking at the last ribbon cutting, we're cutting ribbons all over the place. And, you know, we're still growing right now. And a lot of businesses and other organizations are not. We have a great mission here and great people that we work with. And I'm very happy and proud to be here. Thanks.
Professional community.
Yeah, that's right. We had the pro up there. Thank you, Martin. Congratulations. Okay, that leads us to the Chief Executive Officer's report. And you have 3 minutes. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
And in conclusion, no, I've got a 52-minute report today, so I'll jump right in. I actually am gonna keep it fairly short. We've been doing a lot of talking and celebrating today. We had an all hands this morning and did a sort of mid-year check-in on ridership and some of our other key initiatives, and that was really fun. And then we celebrated the ribbon cutting over at the expanded shop just a few minutes ago, and that was a lot of fun too. So I won't go into detail. You've got my written report and you can look at that at your leisure. I would flag a couple of things just for the board's awareness. We kicked off our public outreach on the Gold Line this week with presentations to the Arlington Council and the Marysville Council. So thank you to board members Schweddy and Naring for helping arrange that. We'll be presenting to Everett on July 31st. So the Gold Line public comment period opens tomorrow. And so we're inviting the public to let us know what their thoughts are as we begin planning that project. There's also been presentations made to the councils in Arlington, Darrington, and Lake Stevens, preparing for the innovative services pilot projects to begin in those cities. And of course, there's an item later on today's agenda to address that, and we'll hear more detail from Jen. Just wanted you to know that we've been out and about. There's some activity happening at the regional level with respect to the ORCA system. There's active discussion underway to consider a change to the ORCA day pass to make transfer credit between properties and between modes equivalent across the region as light rail comes into Linwood. So more to come from that regional discussion, but it could mean that we bring an item to this board later in the year for consideration. Speaking of that, light rail launch is a mere 51 days away, August 30th, and our network restructure is only 65 days away. So we're very close to beginning to count that down in hours. Full court press, lots of coordination with our fellow agencies at King County and Sound Transit. CEO of Sound Transit, Jerron Sparman, will be here at our board meeting August 1st. And he and his team, along with our team, will present to the board a comprehensive look at the plans for rail activation, the service on the first weekend and the first 2 weeks, the celebration events around the system, and of course then for CT, a route by route detailed report on how our network will change 2 weeks later on September 14th and the preparations we're making to support our customers and our employees through that transition. So that'll be a big meeting. I hope everybody can be there. There will be a lot to cover. Speaking of that, the Ride Store is coming down to the wire in Linwood. So we're going to be we are keeping a very close eye on the contractor there. We expect to plan an event to publicize to the public the availability of the ride store in that week immediately prior to light rail activation. So watch this space, but our plan and our current schedule is to be ready and be available to all the new customers who will be coming to Linwood to use our services and Sound Transit's as well. You will recall fondly the Orange Line opening March 30th, just a couple of months ago. You'll recall that we had a couple of key items that remained incomplete, the restrooms and landscaping and facilities around the McCollum Park Terminal, and then the Mill Creek Boulevard Station at Mill Creek and 164th. That station is fully equipped and operational and will open July 12th, which is 2 days from now. And then the McCollum Terminal will get full occupancy of that facility, including the crew restrooms on July 19th. And that will complete all the work on the Orange Line. Want to just mention quickly that we've had another very important development, and we'll do a little bit a more detailed presentation on this at a subsequent meeting, but we activated on July 1st our Security Operations Center across the street at Building 4, Cash Park. This is a facility that has live video feeds with over 200 cameras system-wide, which is staffed by our transit security officers. So we have eyes now on all of our campus facilities, Hardison, Cascade, Cash Park, and the Ride Store. So we will now have the ability to coordinate very precisely our TSO deployments, our incident responses, and our coordination with our transit police unit. That facility, staffed by security, is networked with our dispatch and customer care folks. So we're developing the ability to have an integrated communications and incident response capability. So that's very exciting and is part of our ongoing commitment to try to improve safety and security within the system for employees and for our customers. So there's a few other items here. We got some good news from the audit team. We passed our financial audit and are moving into compliance. So we're on a good path for yet another clean set of audits. And our budget team, led by Unju and Mary, pulled in another 6th consecutive prestigious award from the Government Finance Officers Association for distinguished budget presentation for 2024 budget. So anyway, that's a great reflection of the quality of the staff work there. So I think with that, Mr. Chair, I will conclude my report and happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you, Rick. Are there questions, board questions for the CEO thing today? Okay. Thank you. That leads us to committee reports, and I'll report out on the executive committee meeting. The executive committee met on June 20th. Chair Merrill, Mayor Frizzell, Councilmember Sweaty, and I attended. Staff shared an update on contracted services, and the CEO report was provided. The next committee meeting is scheduled for July 18th at 11:30. And that concludes that report. And I'd like to ask Councilmember Sweaty to report on the Finance, Performance, and Oversight Committee.
Okay, thank you. The Finance, Performance, and Oversight Committee met on July 10th, 2024. The Finance, Performance, and Oversight, I'm sorry, I read the wrong thing. The Finance, Performance, and Oversight Committee met on Thursday, June 30th, 2024 in a Zoom format. Board members, Mayor Roberts, Councilmember Jared Mead, and I attended. The committee consent items, the committee reviewed and recommended one item to the consent agenda. Approval of the May 2024 monthly expenditures and payroll vouchers will be items 8B through G on the consent agenda. Action items, the committee reviewed and recommended one item to the action agenda. Award RFP 2024-037, the microtransit services. The reports we received was Q1 2024 performance report. Olivia Woods, Manager of Research and Analytics, presented to the committee the Q1 2024 performance report. A copy of this report is included in your packet. Sales tax report for May 2024 unaudited. In May 2024, Community Transit collected approximately $16.4 million in sales tax revenue. approximately 1.3 million less than budgeted. A copy of this report is included in your packet. The diesel fuel update and report for May 2024. The average cost year to date through April 2024 was $3 per gallon, while the average cost per gallon budgeted for 2024 was $4.25. This resulted in a favorable variance of $1.25 per gallon year to date through May. Quarter 1, 2024 financial report. Nathan Roberts, Director of Finance, presented to the committee the Quarter 1, 2024 financial report. Copy of this is included in your packet. The next Finance, Performance, and Oversight Committee meeting is scheduled for 2 p.m. Thursday, July 18th via Zoom.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Sweatty. Appreciate that. Leads us on to the consent agenda. Is everyone good with the consent agenda as published? And good deal. I'd entertain a motion then.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Okay. Been moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, on to item number 9, action items. So award RFP number 2024-037 Microtransit Services. Jennifer Haas, I think you're here to tell us all about it. Thank you.
I am, thank you. I'll turn on my parts, hang on. Oh, it's all working, great. Good afternoon, I'm Jennifer Haas, a Senior Manager of Innovation, and I am here to discuss with you the award of Microtransit RFP 2024-037. I'm going to spend a little bit of time just talking about how we got here, some background, what the current status of this RFP process is, impacts to the budget, and then next steps, and finally ending with the recommendation. A little bit about background. We launched our ZIP microtransit service back in Alderwood. As we all know, back in October of 2022. Last fall, it became a regular service through adoption by all of you, the board. And I'm happy to say we've served over 60,000 trips with that service since we launched. So it's great. It's been very popular, very well received in the Alderwood area. Our current contractor is MedStar Transportation. They provide that service currently through October 2024 of this year, which is why we have gone through this RFP process to secure a vendor to continue to provide the services. And we're also targeting to launch 3 pilots later this year in Q4 of 2024 in the cities of Arlington and Darrington and Lake Stevens, which is, again, a reason why we need to get a contractor selected and onboarded to be able to fulfill that promise to those communities as well. Let's talk a little bit about what we've gone through in this RFP process. As I mentioned, MedStar Transportation has this contract through October 19th specifically. We issued this RFP for 2 years initially, and then it also includes 3 one-year extension options. So it has a total horizon of 5 years if needed. When we issued it, we had 12 vendors that downloaded the RFP. We received proposals from 2. One of them was the current contractor, MedStar Transportation. The second was Via Mobility. We pulled together an evaluation team from really cross-functional across the agency. Almost, I think, every department was represented because we wanted to make sure everyone's voice was heard in this process, and it was a big decision. So we spent a lot of time scoring the proposals, and the evaluation team did recommend Via as the selection. Based on their qualifications, their technical ability and approach, their communication and customer service, as well as any risk associated with them as a vendor. Those are the main criteria in the evaluation process. So a little bit about VIA and why we chose them as an evaluation team. We are anticipating, based both on their proposal and then also what we have learned from our peer agencies that also use VIA as their microtransit provider, we're expecting to see some good increases in efficiency, especially in boardings per vehicle hour, increasing by about 1.5 to 2 times. So essentially what that means is we'll be able to get more trips within a 1-hour period than we're currently seeing with our current operations. So being able to get those same vehicles around quicker within the same time. And then aligned with that, also being able to increase our shared trips by up to 3 times. So we can move more vehicles within that 1 hour period, but then also carry more people per passenger or per trip, per vehicle trip. So a lot of this efficiency gains come from a more robust app and routing algorithm that VIA has to offer than our current transportation provider. So we're excited to be able to realize those efficiencies and are expecting to potentially see about a 20% decrease in our cost per boarding based on that. So that is something we're excited about as a product team. We also know well from our current customers in the Alderwood zone that while that we do have a really high satisfaction level with the service itself, that we have had some concerns about the app. And so in going out with a new contractor through the selection process, we want to make sure that whomever we're recommending and onboarding has really strong technical ability. And VIA does have that, both rated through our evaluation process and again through some peer analysis that we've done for those that provide service with VIA already. And just wanted to mention, VIA has provided microtransit nationally and internationally for a little over 8 years. That represents about 140 million rides, and they've withheld like 4.8 out of 5-star rating for customer satisfaction, which is really good. Talk-
I have one question. Do we currently, with our current provider, do we keep tabs of where do we rate the?
Yeah, MedStar Transportation doesn't do like the 5-star. They kind of do thumbs up, thumbs down. But yeah, we do monitor what comes down as like thumbs down comments. But as I mentioned, overall, I think customers are currently happy with the operations that MedStar has been providing for us. Drivers are good. People are getting picked up. We've heard the most complaints with people just having trouble booking through the app. So that was a big focus in this evaluation process with the looking at the proposals. Budget impact, we currently have operating budget in 2024 to fund the service, and we'll be requesting funds in 2025. The initial 2-year contract term has a not to exceed amount of $13.9 million. This is in line with the independent government cost estimate that was performed that came in at $14.6 million for 2 years. And again, this represents all 4 zones, Alderwood plus the 3 pilot zones in Arlington, Darrington, and Lake Stevens for 2 years. So I'm going to walk through next steps. This is an overview of kind of our path to launch, both transitioning Alderwood and bringing on the 3 new pilots. So focusing up in the top left corner in the blue squares, these really apply to both the transitioning Alderwood and bringing on the new pilots. So in July and August, we'll be onboarding our vendor, which is exciting. We're currently working on a marketing plan that will align with both the transition of Alderwood as well as the launch of the 3 new pilots. A lot of cross-functional planning is already happening internally to get this work going. We'll be matching that and pairing it with vendor conversations and bringing them in from an operational lens. And then if we focus on the gray bars, those are pertaining to Alderwood specifically. So starting in August all the way through September, we'll be kind of rolling this up under operational integration and communication. Essentially what that means is really getting the field work done and making sure everything in that zone is operating how it needs to operate. Boundary lines are correct, vehicle assignment is correct, dispatching is working, all of our field testing is being done. And then in addition, from the customer experience side, making sure we have all the communication pieces ready, customers understand the transition, because essentially this is a service operated by one vendor one day and then clicked off to a new vendor the next day. So really making sure customers feel comfortable with that and have lots of prior communication. So that occurs during that time. And then we'll be transitioning the zone in October, as I mentioned. Current contract ends October 19th. So the zone would be transitioning October 20th. And then from that point, we would be just watching the service and optimizing it to make sure how is it doing, how our customers feeling, how our operators doing, what's the driver experience like, all of those elements. So that kind of takes us through for Alderwood. And then if we pop back to the yellowish bars, those represent Arlington, Darrington, Lake Stephen pilot launches. So we have a little bit more time because those won't be launching until the end of the year. So we've been following the same process through August through October of getting all the zones ready. We'll be going back out to councils in each of those cities to update them on when the pilots are launching, what the communication plan looks like for their community, all of those pieces. And then really hoping between mid-November and the end of December to be launching these three. Our goal is not to launch them all on the same day. We probably want to try and phase them into 2-week segments in between them. Once we have onboard the vendor, we'll be able to talk through kind of what our internal plans are and align it with what their recommendations are for standing those up over that 6-week period. But we feel very confident through our evaluation and proposal process that VIA can handle that timeline for us and that startup time successfully. So that was another consideration for making them as a recommended vendor for this process. So I'll move into the recommendation and then I will take any questions. So the recommendation is that the Board of Directors authorize the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate an award contract RFP 2024-037 Microtransit Services to Via Mobility LLC for a 2-year period with 3 one-year options for a not to exceed amount of $13,900,000, including tax for the initial 2-year contract period. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Councilmember Schwetti.
Yes, I have a question. Do we have any idea when we're going to be able to make money on these any of the microtransit?
I would love to make money on any of our services that we offer. I don't consider it probably a money-making service. I think as a public transportation provider, none of our services really turn a profit. We can look at how closely we are getting to, cost per boarding targets, and we try and align them in areas that we are around fixed route cost per boardings to make sure they are at least equivalent or less. That's one marker that the industry uses to ensure microtransit is the best kind of service or product to be in that specific area. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever make money with microtransit.
Thank
That would
you.
be great if we could, but I think our goal is to really keep the cost per boarding low. We'd love to see, high teens to mid 20s in the zones that we're operating. But again, I think it's one good kind of test is to see how is that particular service performing against other services that are in that area, and is that in line with what the expectation is for the cost.
Okay. Mayor Frizzell.
I don't know why I haven't asked this before, but the current microtransit is called Alderwood.
Yes.
Why is it not called Linwood? It operates
Mm.
fully within the city of Linwood.
When we did that branding exercise, we wanted people to hopefully have an understanding from hearing Alderwood that it wasn't all of the city that they were eligible to use the service in. And so we tried to keep it at more of a micro level, and people had a lot of recognition of understanding Alderwood as a neighborhood name than others. And so that's kind of how we ended up with Alderwood. Now, that being said, it's a good segue. With a vendor who will be providing services across 4 zones, we will not have the luxury to sub-brand vehicles because the vehicles may be interchanging
Gotcha.
between zones. It may mean we can still sub-brand through printed pieces or other things, but the vehicles won't be able to probably mark that way, just for efficiency and cost savings. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that's the backstory to Alderwood. One of it was just recognition, but also so people had a sense when they saw it, it wasn't all of Linwood, and then we're disappointed when they can only use this area.
Yes. Okay, so we're blaming that on Alderwood.
We could
Mayor
always
Brady.
revisit it. We can always revisit it.
So which brings up a question from that. When it gets rolled out, for example, in Lake Stevens, is it going to be in a zone or is it the entire city?
Oh, they're all zones.
Okay.
So the Lake Stevens zone is almost, it's like 2.5 times the size of the current Alderwood zone. And Arlington is the same. So they're all, both of those are significantly larger than the
But
Alderwood
not the
zone.
entire city.
Not the entire city, no. It's all still tried to be kept somewhat at a micro level.
All righty. Questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Who does the independent governmental estimates?
A large panel of expertise within community transit.
Okay. What is within?
It
community
is
transit?
staff driven.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
And in Lake Stevens, we did get the boats for the 1,000 acre
That's
lake.
after that's the next thing after the pilot.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Other questions for Jennifer Haas today? Well, I have a question. I've heard this presentation before, and then, like Mayor Frizell, you think of things later. What's it going to be called? I mean, just in terms of being out in a lot of areas, is it going to be a generic name for the service, or?
So to still be branded Zip. So
Is it
Zip will
branded
be
Zip?
known as microtransit. That's what we're
Okay.
hoping for,
Yeah.
like one and the same. And then we'll talk about how to make it still feel localized and customized for communities, knowing that we can't necessarily put that maybe on the vehicle sides, but there's other ways. We might be able to carry sub-branding of the community through that. So
Okay.
those would be things we'll be exploring with our marketing team.
So it won't be Zip Lake Stevens necessarily, or Zip Alderwood, or
It still could
Still-
potentially for that community. They just may not
For
see that
marketing and-
on the
yeah, yeah.
side of the vehicle, be like Zip.
yeah. Okay.
But in their, home mailer, maybe it says, Zip Lake Stevens shuttle, something like that.
And I think I heard you say that I don't want to use the word profit, that it's not a profitable service, but the cost for like a fixed ride is about the same or less for micro, right? So when we're comparing apples to,
That's what we try and target. I think when I came last October, when we did the transition from pilot into regular service, in that presentation, I had showed that at that time, our cost per boarding for Zip was about $29. And from a fixed route standpoint, the range was anywhere from like 13 to the like 125, with an average of around $22 for cost per boarding across the whole fixed route system. So that's why we really try and look at what is fixed route doing in the zone or area we're in specifically, because that average gets spread too far. If you look at the whole system of fixed routes. So like when we look at Alderwood, we look at what is the fixed route network in that particular zone and the cost per boarding for that.
so they're not wildly different, I guess is what I'm saying. So
That's the goal, to
Yeah.
try and, as we're learning about microtransit and what our threshold for cost is and what that constraint can look like, that's the marker we're using right now.
okay. All right, board, there's a recommendation in the packet. I'd entertain a motion. Oh,
Yeah, I will move the board authorize the CEO to negotiate and award a contract RFP 2024-037 Microtransit Services to Via Mobility LLC for a 2-year period with three 1-year options for a not to exceed amount of $13,900,000, including tax, for the initial 2-year contract period.
Second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded, moved by Mayor Marine and seconded by someone else here down there. Daughtry, was it? I heard it down that side of the dais. I might just ask before we vote on it, are the folks online, do they have any questions online?
No
Councilmember
questions for me.
Merrill,
Thank you.
No
Councilmember-
questions for me, thank you.
All right. As the maker of the motion, you have opportunity to speak to it if you'd like.
Oh, I just was gonna point out that it's not profitable for us, but clearly it is for Via Mobility, or they wouldn't do it. So it's profitable for somebody.
And it's also profitable for customers. I think they want to ride it. Right?
Absolutely.
So I think it's good. Any other comments from board members? All those in favor of adopting this motion, which is RFP 2024-037, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, got eyes online. It passes unanimously, it sounds like to me. Very good. Leads us on to the chair's report, the July, thanks, Jen, appreciate your help. The July 18th quarterly board workshop is canceled. And the next regular board meeting is August 1st at 3 p.m. We will have an executive session, but I think we'll take care of the board communications, if it's okay with you all, before we do that, so that we can just come back in and just adjourn. So let's start with the folks up in the cloud. Any comments from our chair, Merrill? Do you have anything to say today besides?
I do. I wanted to say thank you to Mayor Roberts for stepping in today when I was unable to attend in person, taking over those duties. And it was on short notice. Second part is I was really sorry to miss the ribbon cutting for the maintenance facility. The upgrade and renewal of the facility was kind of dear to me, but I'll spare you all the story in order of why that is in order to get on with things. Thank you.
Okay. Tom, thank you so much. Councilmember Payne, I see you popped on the screen.
Yes, thank you. No comments from me today, but enjoyed the presentation on microtransit. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Mead, anything from you today?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay, is anybody else on? Okay, we're all good. Let's start down with Councilmember or Mayor Neri. Used to be a council member, didn't you?
Yeah, yes, thank you.
About 20 years ago. Mayor Neri.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to thank Rick and his team for coming up to our city council meeting on Monday night. Great presentation on the Gold Line, and it was very well put together and very well received. And we are excited to see that whole process get underway.
Very
So
good.
thanks.
Very good. Mayor Frizzell.
Getting excited for 51 days from now. Hope to see everybody in this room at the opening of Sound Transit. So a lot of work to be done in the in-between time, but should be a fun day.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Sweaty.
Yes, I do have some. I'm going to take a couple of minutes too. I want to tell the board about this fantastic program that the staff here at Community Transit has created. And a year ago, when we found out about the kids riding free, we had several discussions, and in those discussions, several people made the comment, you know, what could we do so the kids know how to do all this? Well, our staff took that and ran with it, and they have created an incredible program that is going out to the schools and teaching classes how to ride the buses. I know this because a month ago, I went to Lowell Elementary in Everett. Now, Lowell is a title school, which means everybody is low income. A lot of the kids are actually homeless, and half of the population is immigrants. And I went there because there was going to be a training, and the trainer was Natalie Lawrence. And I want to tell you, when she walked into that office, boy, it's been a long time since I've been that impressed with someone. She had, her personality stood out. She met everybody. She never stopped smiling. She just totally incorporated herself into, you know, a school building. You guys have walked into school buildings. You know what it's like. And then we went to a classroom where she had 2 full classes of 5th graders. And she interacted with them too. She did some things that I wish I had known back when I was in the business, because she kept the kids organized. She kept them involved. They were raising their hands. It was just incredible the way she did it. Whoever hired her, let me tell you, you did a super job. Well, then we took the kids and went outside, and here was a bus. Now, I didn't know we had a bus. I was shocked. I thought, oh my gosh, we got this bus. And the coach operator, Anthony Peterson, he took one of the classes inside the bus, and she took the other class in front of the bus. And I didn't go in the bus where the coach operator was, but I could sure see him, and he was involved. I mean, his hands never left the air. I mean, he was telling them everything. He was showing them everything. He was really getting their attention. And there was no doubt in my mind that those kids were going to go home that day and tell their parents, hey, let's go find a bus because I want to show you how to ride it. And it was just so impressive. Well, Natalie was on the front of the bus and she was teaching the kids how to put bikes on them. And she did a couple, showed them how to put them on, how to take them off. And then she had 2 kids at a time come up, put the bike on, take it off, put the bike on, take it off, to where they knew exactly how to do it and there wouldn't be any accidents. It was just an incredible training program for those kids. And it won't just last until they hit 18, trust me. Those kids are going to be riding the bus, and then as adults, they're going to continue riding the bus. And they're going to have their families do that too. And so I want to thank the staff for developing this program. And I really encourage the board, if you find out that they're going to be in your city, go in and watch it. It will create things in your heart you haven't felt in a long time. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Sweaty? Yeah.
Oh.
Good job.
Very good. What
Sweet,
were
sweet.
we doing again?
Mayor Murray.
I just want to say it's one of the best parts about being in community transit is seeing these projects that sometimes take a while, come to fruition. Not unlike the Sound Transit's light rail that we were talking about for many, many years. And it's going to be exciting to be there for that ribbon cutting and to see that train come in. But also employees like Martin for 20 years. It says a lot about an organization that you have employees that are 20, 25, 30 years. It either means that the employees are so bad they can't get on anywhere else, or it's community transit and they're just doing such a great job, and community transit is such a great organization that they don't want to leave. So kudos to the organization for keeping very good employees. Appreciate that. And then on another note, if you're not doing anything on this Saturday, you come down to Lighthouse Park on the water in Mukilteo from about 10 to noon. We're having our 2nd annual dog show. And who doesn't love dogs? And so there you go. You could bring down your dog or whoever you want to bring.
Thank you, Mayor Murray. Councilmember Daughtry.
Well, with that, at the last weekend of July, we're having Aquafest, near and dear to my heart. I'm the facilities guy for that, so I have to plan the whole thing out, get it put on.
Oh, boy.
And one of the things that we're doing dog-wise is a 2nd annual police canine show. Basically, we bring in the sheriff's dogs, so we bring in Lake Stevens dog, and I think we have a state patrol dog that come in and do a demonstration. This year, we've added our Proud Pet Show to the mix. We've done a Proud Pet Show for, I don't know, 65 years, 63 years, whatever it is. But now we're putting it on at the same time. And then we also have an agility competition going on, or a demonstration. It's not a competition. Anyway, all that to say that come on down for Aquafest. It's going to be great. No carnival. I know you'll stay away because there's no carnival, but that's just the way it is now. It's the 26th, 27th, 28th. Yep. I'll be down there from the 25th until the 29th. This year I'm taking a sleeping bag. So the other thing I wanted to say is thank you to Jennifer for the presentation again. When they brought it to the Lake Stevens Council a few weeks ago, after you left is when all the questions hit. And it's like, I couldn't believe the questions I was getting about this microtransit. And so, I finally just said, call Jennifer. And he's like, I don't know. Well, you're on the board. That's not how it works. Jennifer's the one that knows what's going on. Call Jennifer. I don't know if you got any calls or not, but yeah, there's a buzz in Lake Stevens about microtransit, and I understand that you're going to be at somebody's going to be at Aquafest. So we'll be talking about it again, I hope, and get the citizenry involved in it. So I've got a really good spot for you all set up. So you're ready to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Daughtry. Labor Representative Norton.
I have nothing right now, but before you go into executive session, I'd like to have about 3 minutes of Matt's time. You're nodding, is that okay? All right, thank you.
Okay, and we will be going after that. Why don't you are you just going to go over here and talk to him? Is that, yeah. So we'll be going into executive session. When we get out, it'll be 15 minutes. There will be no action taken. I understand, did you have something you were going to say?
I just wanted to ask and put on the record the topic. We have a very strong tradition of engaging Rep. Norton in our executive sessions with the exception of collective bargaining business. Our topic today is not collective bargaining, but it does blur the line a little bit with our union coordination. I wonder if Rep. Norton would be okay foregoing this one, and we'll catch you up with a separate briefing later.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. And you still want the 3 minutes with Matt, is that correct? Yeah, okay. So, all right, so, board members and alternates will be joining online. Now we ask that you, should we go ahead and leave now? Do you want to just, and then you guys can have, okay. We'll ask you to leave the public meeting and join the, executive session Zoom meeting listed on your agenda. For board members in person, we'll now move to the Stanwood Camano Conference Room. So, yeah. No, it's a Camano.
The executive session will be extended for 5 minutes to 4:10 PM. Thank you.
Ready after chair? Okay, we are back from executive session. Is there any other business for the good of the order or the agency you know about?
Not from staff. No, thank you.
Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting then, our board meeting at 4:12. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.